Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Young Justice, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Sarah Potter, and today I'm joined by Dylan Hysen.
Hello.
And Allie Martin.
Hi.
So today we're going to be talking about Antisocial Pathologies and Terminus, episode 22 and episode 23 of Young Justice Outsiders. But before we get to that, you can find out everything about this podcast at overlyanimated.com. You can subscribe to us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes or on YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated. So yeah, we have two big episodes. Jeff has a really, really bad day, and Meghan deals with the repercussions of morality when she hasn't really thought about it at all for multiple years for some reason. So let's get into that. Dylan.
Those are your two big takeaways from these episodes?
Obviously. These are the two biggest things in the episode.
Okay.
Dylan, what do you think of these episodes?
I wouldn't have talked about those two things in the opening thoughts, but shit's going down, right? Like,
yeah.
This is pretty crazy, these two episodes. Especially the end of Terminus. Like, what everyone dead? You know, that's always a good question. No. These are good episodes. I think, like, they're more, and not that they're not good, but I think they're more, like, exciting and huge than great, if that makes, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a great feeling. I'm so in on big plot things happening at the end of the show, and these are like the pre-finale episodes, or at least we're getting the last three next week. So this is about to end, and these are two good ones, and I love. There's a lot of Granny.
There's two grannies.
Yeah.
Many.
I'm torn on two grannies because I like that there's double the granny, but I care about our granny, and who's to say that the granny in Terminus is our granny? She could just be a different granny clone. So I don't know about that, but
that's what I assume.
I assume
they're all clones.
Yeah, or whatever they are. Who knows?
Whatever they are.
Yeah, these are good. These are good episodes. Antisocial Pathologies has the Dr. Jace stuff, which I'm sure I'll get bombarded about this podcast. Yes, so we'll get to that. And then Terminus has Walle in it, and the old Young Justice team, and that was super unexpected in the middle of an action-packed episode. And my big question is, like, is this further foreshadowing for Walle to be back on Tuesday, or is this the payoff to the Walle hinting we've been getting the whole time? And I don't know the answer, so I'd love to hear what you guys think about that, because that's one of my big questions, I feel like, going into the last three episodes, other than, will everyone be enslaved like it seems like everyone is now? Will we do a time? I feel like this could be like a Doctor Who, the Master type thing. No one's gonna understand. The like modern Who, where we like flash forward and the Earth is enslaved, and it's like everyone is like trying to break free. Like the Doctor's trying to break free of like the Earth is already taken over now on Tuesday, or are like we gonna stop this wave from spreading to the rest of the universe? And it was just like this galaxy right at the end of Terminus. It's like very unclear right now. So I guess interested in that, whether everyone we know will be mind controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely get to Walle if we have time after we talk about Jeff, because there's a lot of Jeff here, Dylan.
What are you talking about, Jeff?
I mean, you have Walle written 3 times in the outline, just in
wow, way to spoil the fun, Allie.
I appreciate it.
Allie, what did you think of these episodes?
Well, I agree with Dylan saying that, well, first of all, in terms of, like, the fact that these episodes feel, like, more than, like, not that they're not good, but they feel like, it's jam-packed. And I appreciate that, but it's also, it feels like too much all at once, kind of. Like, at least with Antisocial Pathologies, when Granny was, like, giving the whole lecture about the anti-life equation in the cube, I was like, oh, this is a bunch of information in, like, 5 minutes. And then Dr. Jace's whole speech, I was like, whoa. So it's a lot, but I also, it gets the adrenaline pumping, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen next? I really appreciate that they're getting into Terra more with Deathstroke too. I want to call him Slade, but
I mean, it's the same thing. Slade is like real name.
Okay.
Either works.
I like what they're doing with his character, just because I don't know anything about him except from what I remember from Teen Titans, so I like the direction they're going there. I'd still like to see her and her brother interact once. Like, he hasn't said a word to her, I feel like. It's just weird.
It is a little strange.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about two grannies. I feel like they're all clones of the Overlord. What's the, who's the guy she keeps referring to?
Darkseid.
Thank you,
yeah.
Maybe, like, I don't know, he just makes a bunch of them.
He's not a granny, though, right? Like,
no.
Maybe he is. Who knows? He's just a granny underneath the suit.
That would be a good reveal.
Dude, that would be the best reveal ever.
I'm the original granny.
It's like Darth Vader, except it's Granny.
Oh my god. Granny, I am your granny.
I don't know. I want to like what they're doing with Violet just because it's awful, but I also hate it because it's awful, if that makes sense. It's better than her being repeatedly murdered, I guess.
Is it, though?
This is a good point. If you're someone like Beatrice who is like enraged in Violet's treatment by the plot, I feel like the end of this season is very fitting to how they've treated Violet, and also like I was like, oh, Beatrice, you should catch up on Young Justice. It's actually like good now. And no, I don't recommend it anymore. Like I take it back
because she hated the Violet stuff. She will hate it.
Not this. I love it, but like no, this is like the people who are already pissed at Violet are going to be even more pissed now. You know.
Yeah, like
which is why I don't know how to feel.
They tripled down on the way they were treating Violet all season. Like
I get why they're doing it, but I want them to stop.
We could get to that, 'cause that's like a little bit further, because like we have a lot to talk about with these episodes.
There's just one more I wanted to talk about. I don't understand the Walle thing, so someone's gonna have to explain that when we get into it.
We'll definitely get to that.
I don't think an explanation. That's it.
Okay, well,
but we will talk about it. Sure. But just because I know how much we're gonna talk about everything in these, because there's a lot to happen. I'll just say that I like these episodes. I enjoyed them. I'm glad we're like getting a lot of momentum in these episodes. But it still is very frustrating that we have all this momentum finally and it's about to end. Like, I'm still a little frustrated with that, but that just feels like we've talked about this before on podcast, that it feels like we had a little bit of some slower bits in the middle and now we have momentum and it's good. But with that said, let's just get right into Antisocial Pathologies. I think this episode is like really, there's a lot of a lot of different plots going on, A, B, and C plots, but this episode definitely feels like all the plots are related in some way. Like everyone's learning stuff and all the little side plots feel integrated together, which is definitely different for this show. Like even this opening scene with Tara talking to Deathstroke connects to essentially the A plot of this episode, which is Granny getting Violet. So I think that's
I agree. Everything like connects, as opposed to Terminus, where we have this Jefferson silent B plot, which is unrelated.
Yeah, but this one we have all these. It's not just like we have the plot back at the tower. We have the plot out here with Tara. We have the plot with Violet and Dr. Jace. Like all these things come together in I think a pretty satisfying way, which isn't always true of this show. I don't think it's always trying to do this, but this episode works really well, I think, because even when we're jumping to crazy things, like everything just flows together well, I think. So I guess we're going to start with Tara, because that seems like that's like the first thing that jumps to my mind in this episode, because Dr. Jace is a traitor.
I would say Dr. Jace.
Yes.
Okay, let's start with Dr. Jace then. Dylan, defend yourself.
About what? I've heard no claims against me yet.
Did you read my outline, Dylan?
They can't hear the outline.
Dr. Jace is a cartoon villain who twirls her mustache. That's essentially what she does this entire episode, Dylan. Like,
let me tell you my
She's been doing it the whole time behind the curtain.
Yeah.
So I've been standing Dr. Jace all season, and 2 podcasts ago I'm like, Dr. Jace is I have a good feeling about her. She's gonna be good. I trust her. This might be my worst call in the history of this podcast.
I think it is.
Like, I was really on about Lion equals Pink Diamond in Steven Universe while, but at least I feel like that was thematically kind of close to, like, there's some twist involving Pink Diamond. Like, I think I was on the right track. This, I was like the opposite of her.
Completely.
At least with Lotor, like, it was supposed to be like you like him, but he's bad. Like, this is just...
But this is the thing. I appreciate that she's kind of crazy and not just, like, evil for being the sake, or being evil for the sake of being evil.
Are you, though?
Well, I mean, it's at least more interesting. She's like, oh, they're my children. Like, it's kind of...
I disagree. Like, I think this is just, like, cartoon villainy. Like, I don't actually think she has a motivation here, and it's kind of frustrating to me, but...
I'd say her motivation is that she's crazy. She wants her own meta-kids, but... You know, it's not like she's doing this so she can get power. At least it doesn't seem that way.
But why?
I think that episode presents this as her motivation being the children, and she definitely seems kind of unhinged, kind of sociopathic-ish. Though I will say one thing I and us were right about last podcast was that we're like, Dr. Jace is probably being taken advantage of by the light. And it's like, that's true, but also she was still really evil. Like, I didn't see both of those things happening.
So both. Like, she's just a bad person.
We were right that she wasn't working with the light. Like she was like, she didn't understand that the whole light was involved, and she also didn't think she'd get double crossed. But at the same time, she still gets this whole, like Granny's like, tell us what happens the last 20 episodes of the show behind the scenes. And then so she gets to monologue about, this was like very unexpected. That, it was I think it's like not that well done ultimately, this Jace stuff. Cause, it is satisfying to like flash back to the beginning of the show, and it's like this is I feel like the one thing that they're trying to tie the entire season together right now. Like there's so many things that happen this season, and this is like the one thing that's really done that's really gone from start to finish is this Jace twist. I assume there'll be more stuff in the last 3 episodes probably, but it was satisfying to like go all the way back to Markovia and see what she was doing behind the scenes this entire time. But it's also just like this episode versus every single episode before it, and it's like 2 completely different things. Like I don't think this was like a super satisfying twist that they executed on here. For another reason being that they present her too convincingly, I think. Like I think the fact that I was so sold on this is not necessarily a good thing, in that it just feels random for her to go from super sympathetic and caring to this crazy person. Not that this is like not a person that can't exist or anything like that. I didn't think it seems narratively kind of random, and also ultimately not too consequential to much, honestly. Like Terminus, she's not relevant at all. Like, so what is even the point of Dr. Jace this entire time? Sorry. The last aspect of this that I don't like is that she, it's a very like woman's motivation. It's like, I was doing this because I wanted my children. It's like, okay, it's like a cartoony version of like the way men write women all the time. So,
that's a good point.
I mean, like, it's not like it's not a thing that could happen for people. But there was no nuance that sold me on it beyond playing into a trope. I mean, like, I still like Jace. It was a cool scene. It was part of like a packed episode that does a lot of things. I don't think it was like terrible, I guess, but it was just like, I feel like we could have done this better.
Yeah, I get that. And I think I'm less upset about that trope thing with Jace, because I think the other women in this show don't follow that specific trope, at least.
That's true.
Like that makes it easier on me, but still I do agree that like that is very clearly the trope, and there's no other depth to it beyond that. It's just, I see these experiments I've run as my children, essentially. Like, she does not view Brion and Tara from before her experiments as really people at all, even. It's just the people that she experimented on. That's it.
Right, and there are really interesting things within this monologue. Like, that's like I was confused at first. I was like, did they really get reborn? And is it like a Violet?
People or
is
something?
It like a Violet situation where like their mind was wiped? But no, I think it's literally just that the metagene activated. It's just her distorted perspective on it. She sees them as being reborn. That's like a really interesting concept. So I do think there's like a lot of good stuff here too.
Yeah.
The only thing is, I feel like, is she gonna, like, maybe, sure, she just sees them as her children, but she also, I remember she kept talking to Brion about, like, oh, your people are inspired, so is she going to use him as, like, a manipulation tool kind of thing? I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a stretch, but it would be at least more interesting somehow. I don't know.
It just seems very unclear. It might just be, like Dylan was saying, like, it just might be that she really, like, she's just it's just
she
the
just
metagene.
Wants kids.
Yeah, it's just the metagene thing, the kid thing. Like, it's very, out of left field. I agree with that.
I think like one of the main takeaways I think from this whole thing is that she does care about Brion and Tara.
Yes,
and,
in a creepy way, but
that feels satisfying. It's like in her sociopathic way, but it's satisfying that like she does care about them. It feels very off from what we saw before for that she ultimately doesn't give a shit about Violet.
Yeah.
That was like the most random thing. Is like, really, wow, this whole time. I mean, it was shocking that part was like super shocking that she really doesn't care at all about Violet.
And then she was lying about her fucking
lying about the dying. Like, so is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Like, it's good that it's surprising, that's a twist. It's bad that I don't think the audience could have seen it coming. I don't know.
Well, it also means they can kill Violet as many times as they want now, Dylan, because she's not dying.
She's not dying. So yeah, aren't we really constantly killing Violet by making her have this clamp on her eyes and like do the mind control thing?
We've stepped into the bounds of literally becoming it's the personification of taking away this character's agency. Like, they couldn't have gone any closer to this like allegory than they have. It's just so weird and stupid.
It's frustrating, but
it is satisfying in that it fits with her plotline.
Exactly.
It's just like, I don't want it.
It's too real. That's probably why we're too frustrated.
Agency thing later, but yeah.
Yeah, it just feels kind of meta frustrating, if that makes sense.
Frustrating?
Yeah, but also, we haven't even talked about it. It's that there's also, I was kind of poking at this earlier, just that she also, for some reason, has a relationship with Jeff, and apparently that's like...
Oh, yeah.
Why? Why did that matter?
We knew she was with Jeff.
No, but I know, but she apparently lied, like, she didn't.
Yeah, the twist was that she was, I seduced, that was another sexist thing. I seduced Jeff.
Yeah. So apparently to get closer to the team, when she was already close to the team, because she knew, like, metagene stuff.
This was an unnecessary move, so I just think she can't do it. She just can't admit to herself she really does like Jefferson, so I'm still shipping.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I think behind her sociopath brain, she really does love him, so write the fanfics.
Okay.
Don't encourage it.
Do you have anything else to say for yourself about Dr. Jace before we move on, Dylan?
I mean, like, I was very wrong, but
I mean, you were.
Because who saw this nonsense coming?
We all did. We both kept.
I don't think you thought she would like be absolutely crazy.
Okay,
no, but I did think something was fishy, and I had a feeling she was lying about Violet dying because we didn't really get any information, and it just seemed fucking out of left field. Like, okay, she keeps getting her.
That's right. You could have seen that part coming. I do think they foreshadowed the maybe dying being that true. Well,
I am really, really tempted to find clips of you like standing Dr. Jace and stitching him in right here, Dylan, because you stand her so hard.
Shooting him down.
Who says her being crazy is like more standing fuel? Like, that's fine.
Oh my god.
But she's not relevant. Is she even going to be in the last 3 episodes?
Who knows, Dylan?
Apparently no one is relevant anymore because they're all dead.
No, it's just Garfield.
Yeah, Garfield.
Oh, and Cyborg. I mean, what's his name? Vic.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. That's like way ahead of where we are. Because we still have to talk about everything else in this episode that wasn't Dr. Jace. Including the stuff that happened during the scene. We got all this with Dr. Jace. Because...
The violent anti-life stuff.
The violent anti-life stuff. And you touched on it, Allie. The monologue that Granny Goodness gave was complete and utter, like, gobbledygook. Like, I have no fucking clue what she said.
You're the expert. What do you mean you don't know what she said?
She said like 10 made-up words in a row, and I literally tried to...
This isn't from the comics?
I listened to her say it like 10 times, and every time...
Minus free will equals anti-life.
Yeah, that's the only part
silly.
I got. Everything else was just like, here's this realm, and Violet's important because reasons. And then she threw Violet in there, and she was purple. And that's all I got.
Yeah, same. Someone explain.
I'm looking to Sarah to explain this.
Okay, Dylan, the best I can do for you is that life minus free will equals anti-life.
Okay, I got that, but what does that mean?
She pushes her into what the hell is that even? Like death? The box?
It's the overlord, like...
And he just, like, disintegrates people?
Well, he, like, tortures people, and he conditions people, but Granny said it wasn't permanent. But Violet, as far as I can tell, this is assumption, because everything out of Granny Goodness's mouth was just nonsense. Yeah. My assumption is that Violet is, like, healing people as they're getting conditioned, so, like, those, like, paths of conditioning are, like, healing into, like, their natural state, essentially, so they become this, like, mindless puppet with no free will. Cause, like,
that makes more sense, but it still makes no sense.
Yes, it makes no sense, but this is how I'm gathering it, because Dr. Jace got, like, ejected, and she clearly was upset with Granny Goodness, but she had no ability to say no to what she asked of her, if that made sense. So clearly these people are, like, still inside there, but they're just incapable of taking actions on their own.
Yeah. I feel like it's a little unsatisfying that this big anti-life, not that the series was like really building up to this the whole time, because we just heard the name anti-life for the first time, other than like the episode titles, like the puzzle, we heard it for the first time not too long ago. So, but if this is like the huge climax of the show, it's just mind control. What's the difference between anti-life and mind control? I feel like they could have done a better job maybe showing that this is like such a huge advancement, or like, well, is there a difference? And, who's been working towards this? I don't know.
My understanding is that this is more important than mind control because it's instantaneous, doesn't require them to stick something on people, and it's permanent. Like those, like, because remember in the previous episode we had Tara who was mind controlled, but she broke free of that because there was something in place to block it. Like you can't do that with this. There's no way to avoid it. And that's my understanding of the big difference. Again, I'm working on a bunch of assumptions based on what they've shown in the show, because I think I talked about last week, the anti-life equation has been different in a few comics, and even if we know it based on how it works in the comics, I'm just trying to base it off what's presented in the show, and what's presented in the show is not a lot. If that makes there's not a lot other than it's just mind control, it's permanent, and everybody like doesn't like there's just nothing in there. Like Meghan can't like see inside their brains anymore.
Yeah, and then the McGann stuff, and then taking in the other like psychic stuff. I think that's a good decision next episode. But the one part that I do think is satisfying to all this anti-life thing is Violet being the key. Yeah. I think that was built up by the season well. She's always been weird and different. That's been very clear, is that like, how did Violet's new and weird, and how does this work? So like Cher being like the first time they could achieve this with her makes sense. And then her just being really important to the show. I think she's been the biggest character this season. So her being at front and center and being key to all of this is satisfying. It's not satisfying then to relegate her to just a weapon in the next episode. But the way that you conclude this is you have her break free of this. You show maybe inside her mind, like you need to take her perspective back, because her perspective has been so important this season. So that's like, it's like not feeling great right now what we're doing, but it will make sense if we do certain things in the finale.
Yeah. If she's like integral to like the solution of the problem.
She needs to be integral to the solution in addition to being integral to the problem.
Yeah. But I do want to I want to put a pin in this, because I want to talk about this from the perspective of Vic in the next episode when we talk, because I think he's because we talked last week about how he is kind of like a foil to her in terms of like his character arc, and in terms of like he's a father box in control. He's a person in control of the father box, and she's a mother box in control of the person. Like they're obviously put out here as opposites, and he's still around and isn't controlled yet, so that probably means something. But we can talk about that when we get to the ending of next episode. Because we still, again, have to talk about a lot from this episode 22. And
Let's just get into Jeff, because his stuff is like...
Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna say Jeff, but I guess it is Jeff. It's Jeff realizing that Batman has been orchestrating everything. And I think this has been a long time coming, and it finally feels like the show is acknowledging this stupid thing where like, there's always people lying to each other every single season and no one learns from it. And in this episode, it's just like, guys, why the fuck are we still doing this? Yeah. This was bad last time, and hopefully it sticks, because I don't think I can handle another season where we have this like seedy underbelly of the heroes every season.
Oh, come on, that's definitely happening.
But as long as Batman is around, that won't change.
But I mean, like this kind of like, I think this kind of implies that people are turning on Batman finally.
Yeah, well, the big thing this episode is that the truth is coming out about everything. Yeah. And then certain people, Oracle, I think, and maybe others, will call Batman out on eventually.
Yeah.
But everyone learns the truth, I think, is a big takeaway here.
I also think go ahead.
About what's been, this is the thing that's been going on this whole half season. And,
yes.
Yeah.
It has. And it says that like it's been going on for the whole season because of the beginning. Like, the very first episode is when Jeff steps down from the League, and that's when Batman steps down from the League.
Yeah, when did that happen?
That's the very first episode of the season.
Okay.
Yeah, like, this is from the beginning. Like, Batman has been orchestrating this.
So, the Batman thing.
Yes.
The issue is that Batman is not really a character on the show.
No.
So... this felt so random.
So how long did it take you to figure out that was Bruce Wayne, Dylan? Like,
you're so right. I had no idea that was Bruce Wayne.
No,
it's so long.
Dylan, it should tell you something that I didn't realize it was Bruce Wayne for so long. Like, oh,
are you
he's not in a Batman costume. He's just like a dude. Like, they all look the same.
I figured it out by the time he was like telling people like, hey, we should go in the other room and talk. Like, oh, it's Batman. But
at some point I figured it out. But like,
what is wrong with you?
I'm not saying it took me like minutes, Allie. It took me like.
No, but because Dick was sick, it had to be Bruce.
No, it didn't. It could have been anybody.
Who else does he have? That's his family.
But the problem is everyone's voice actor is the same. Like, I wasn't sure.
It's terrible.
I'll be honest. Batman doesn't have like a lot of like different voices on this show specifically. But the fact is, we haven't heard Batman talk in like 10 episodes, so I wasn't sure.
I'm having trouble getting past them having a whole twist hinge upon Batman, who is probably, not an exaggeration, the 75th most important character in Young Justice Outsiders. It's just, how did they, like, this is so dependent upon Batman being a recognizable cultural figure, right? Like, am I missing something? Like, it's like the only reason this kind of works is because everyone knows who Batman is just from other media. But Batman has just not been in the show. So how is this whole episode hinge upon us talking to Batman? Like, who's is this?
Because Dick orchestrated this whole thing because Batman told him to. He's like his right-hand man.
Which I didn't even connect because this show hasn't even tied Dick
and
Batman together. Bad. Like, I mean, I understand, that they're similar hero family things, but like, I feel like, have they been in more than 2 scenes together this entire season?
No,
I don't know.
No. Definitely not.
Definitely not. Yeah, I definitely agree with all these complaints, Dylan, that like Batman just really shouldn't have been the focus. Like, later in this episode, it becomes a focus of like Superboy talking to Meghan, and Oracle discusses things with Bruce about Dick and stuff like that, and I think that's a better way to frame it, but for a lot of this episode, it's just Jeff yelling at Batman, and I just don't care. Like, I don't care what Batman is, like, why Batman did stuff, because I don't care about Batman in this show. Like, I care about Dick.
But in the show, I think, like, the episode then turns to, like, Jefferson's, like, he's a character we care about, so then it turns to his reaction. That's good.
That's
I think
good. That part
everything he's doing kind of makes sense, and then focusing on him next episode. So it was more just, I guess, that Batman was this figurehead that everyone's reacting to. But I do think the episode, had him on screen way too long, considering.
I think my frustration is they could have done this reveal without Batman even being there, and like I think it would have just been better.
There's really no point to Batman being central to this reveal that we've seen thus far.
Except for Jeff's rage.
I think Jeff could have been yelling at Dick instead, and it would have been better. Like, we could still have Dick be sick and wake up late, but like, we could still have, I just think Dick is much better stand-in for Batman here, considering making all these parallels between Dick and Batman anyways this episode. Like, and next episode. Like, it doesn't, why are we putting Batman in this episode if Dick is supposed to be like this parallel here? Like, it just is so unnecessary in my opinion, but they did it.
Yeah. That being said, I don't think it's super egregious. It's not that much. It's not that much, and then Batman, and then we move on. So it's another one of these things, which is like, I don't understand why we did it this way, and it's not great, but
but it comes back up in the next episode with Jeff. So
it just feels like another one of those things where they just like, we should add another character to this scene. Yeah. It's like, we don't need like 20 characters in every scene. Like, I think that's the frustrating thing. Like, one of the best scenes in this episode is, and I hate what's happening in it, but like, one of the best scenes in this episode is when Superboy's talking to Meghan, because I care about both of them, and it's only 2 of them talking to each other, and I care about their relationship, and we dig down to these things that we were talking about. Like, I think, Allie, you were specifically upset with what Meghan did, weren't you? Last season, and that wasn't being talked about?
What happened last
season? That she, like, mind-wiped Calder, and and everyone just kind of forgave her. Like, that
I was upset about that.
Yeah, but
I mean, it happens in the next episode, but she's kind of justified, sort of.
But I mean, Superboy is like, you can understand Superboy's anger with that too.
Yeah,
like,
no, definitely.
Like him going like, I can forgive, but I'm not forgetting that you did this.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, and also Meghan implies that she tried to change Superboy's mind that he would like fall in love with her permanently or something like that. Like, that's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
that like Meghan makes some really, I think, unconscionable decisions in these episodes, but also like is still sympathetic, which is a very hard line to ride.
So the thing is, even you said like this Superboy and Meghan stuff was better than the Batman. I would say like even Superboy and Meghan are not main characters this season.
They are.
So again, it's like it's the same problem for me. The show, now that we're getting down to it, is reliant upon characters that it hasn't spent enough time with the rest of the season. And I think we're finally starting to see, I mean, if you're someone that's been pissed at this the whole time, then you're already pissed at this. But if you're someone that's been like, okay, this is fine, but now the season's trying to consolidate and climax on a specific thing, and it's relying upon these characters that it hasn't spent enough time with. I don't think the McGann stuff worked for me, considering it's the emotional impact was mostly from season 2, I feel like, and not stuff that would happen this season.
And I think that's fair, because I do think that for me, it lands worse next episode. I just thought this specific conversation was fine to me. But next episode, I think it goes too far in terms of like trying to pull those strings for me. Because again, like you said, like we haven't cared about these characters or haven't seen a lot of these characters in a while. And that's frustrating. And I think that continues on to next episode with the Walle scene we're going to talk about. Because I actually have issues with that scene, like a lot.
I'm very frustrated with that.
I am.
Just because I don't fucking understand it at all.
We'll try to explain, but we're not really, because there's no explanation.
Yeah, there's no explanation. I'm gonna spoil that ahead of time, Allie. There's no explanation.
I was really confused for a while. Anyway.
I'm still confused.
Okay.
And not happy.
So, I guess the last thing to talk about here is that we see the light for a little bit in this episode, and we see that everything in this episode was set up by the light except for Violet going with Granny Goodness. Everything else seems to be going to plan. Like, even Deathstroke knew that Granny would put control chips on Brion and Tara broke free, and now she's mad at the team. But Vandal seemed very upset that Violet and the anti-life equation are going to happen. So
yeah, the light seemed basically I feel like the big takeaway, the light was the one controlling the Brion and Tara's positioning the entire show. But I'm very unclear on to what extent the rest of the life is in on anything happening with Darkseid.
Who are these people even? We haven't fucking...
So my best guess from this is that Darkseid is defecting from the light and is trying to take over
Vandal?
the universe. No, Darkseid. I think.
Darkseid.
Darkseid is
I don't think he's part of the light, for what it's worth.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know.
Darkseid's like a third party.
Darkseid's trying to take over the universe against the light's wishes.
Even
though
at
the very least, Darkseid forces were cooperating with the light, and Granny's now kind of betraying them, and going in her own way, and the light is like actually not okay with this.
Yes.
But I also feel like we should see more of they're like the most powerful things in the galaxy. Like we should see more of what they're doing besides Vandal Savage next episode, saying like, oh, you guys should go over here. Like, what's he do? He could do anything. Why isn't he doing something?
Yeah, who knows? Like, Dylan, like this, I mean, like the next 3 episodes could explain it, but it also feels
I think they'll explain it.
I hope so. But the thing is, even if they do explain it, like it might just be another situation where it's like, we've spent so long not talking about these things that it's frustrating to like get into that mindset of like, why didn't we see the light before the last couple episodes like more clearly? Because like the light seem important this season, but we've not.
We've spent a surprisingly little amount of time with the light. I feel like we spent even more time with them in like previous seasons of the show. Like we got the white screen round table thing in, but that used to be a staple of Young Justice.
Yeah.
We hadn't seen that much at all. And I think like the answer, this episode gives you the answer. It's that the light's actually not the final boss here. It's something else, and the light are going to be at risk along with everyone else.
But for me, it feels like we needed an episode from their perspective to see that they're not like, quote unquote, the bad guys here. It seems to me that the show is trying to set up that the light were just trying to appease Darkseid, but not let him take over the Earth. Like they were trying to
if that's the case, then yeah, we need more. I'm not sold on. I'm convinced Vandal Savage will be a big part of the finale. Yeah. Like we didn't do a whole origin episode for him not to be key here.
But his origin episode was all about that he wanted to protect humanity. Like even as bad as he is, like his goal is to like uplift humanity and make them like as a
from his kind of like
messed up view. Yeah.
I don't even know who the hell you people are talking about.
Vandal's, he's icon. He's the one who is like
has
ding
all the
dong.
scars.
Hi guys.
No, I know, but like, who the fuck is he?
He's just like an immortal guy. Like that's all you need to know. He just doesn't die.
He was like he's like in this world he's like Adam and Eve if Adam just lived forever and accrued power and is like a superhuman now.
And he just like is really smart and like he has a lot of kids and stuff and he's throughout all history. Like he's
Where have I been?
There was a whole origin episode.
We watch Evolution. That's my favorite episode of the season. Evolution.
Yeah, you should rewatch that.
I am certainly expecting some Light and Vandal Savage stuff in the last 3 episodes. That'd be towards the top of my checklist for things I need to see here.
But I think this just implies that Vandal Savage was trying to protect the Earth and it went astray at some point. And
I can see what you're saying. I'm not ready to draw that conclusion. I like probably, but like let's see some stuff.
Also, I'm not saying they're good. I'm saying like if he protected the Earth, it would still be like under his thumb and it would be fucked up.
I need to see him fighting against this giant mind control wave that's coming out. If that's true,
But we still have time to see that. Cause I mean, like,
is the finale going to be a Beast Boy and Vandal Savage team up like against Darkseid? Like, is that what we're doing? I don't know.
That would be interesting. Maybe like the Light helps them. Because I mean, I think if I'm correct, that season 2 ends with the Light in some ways. Like Lex Luthor helps them stop all those things that are going to destroy the world. Like the Light has in the past helped the heroes when there's like a world-ending threat. Like they've been like, okay, we don't like you, but we still want the Earth to be around, so we'll help you.
Even if they didn't really care about people, they care about like protecting their assets or whatever.
And Vandal at the very least cares about the Earth in terms of the resource of people. Like he sees people as kind of a resource, it seems like.
Yeah. I'd certainly believe Vandal does cares about humans from his selfish perspective.
Yes. And so we have a lot to go there, and I think that I think this whole conversation kind of neatly leads into the next episode where we see what's happening that is counter to what the Light actually wants, which is the Justice League becomes or what I'm assuming is counter to what the Light wants, which we'll see in the finale, which is that the Justice League comes under control of this anti-life equation, Dylan.
What an opening scene with here's the most iconic heroes in DC world, and they're just getting enslaved by some old lady, that's
in like
fun.
2 seconds.
Yeah. He's like, maybe, are we the ones that are trapping them? Or, we're all mind control. Like, duh, like, what are you doing? Yeah. Come on.
Allie, did you like this opening scene too?
No.
You didn't?
I mean, yes, but
no. Oh, okay.
It's
yeah.
Awful.
It's very awful.
I get why they're doing it. I was just like, oh, okay, so they're setting up for the finale. This is terrible.
I think
this is an appropriate role for the Justice League in this show. I'm glad that they're not the ones swooping in to save the
that
day.
Is
like
true.
The Justice League is mind controlled. Now what's left of the outsiders on Earth is
that's true. And in that sense, I appreciate that
but
it was done this way. But
my frustration with this is that this is how season 1 ended. All the Justice League were mind controlled, and the team with like Robin.
They really mind controlled?
Yeah, they were, Dylan.
I don't remember that.
Remember Red Arrow? Remember Roy? Or not Roy?
I remember Roy, yeah.
He's not Roy now. He has a different...
There's too many.
It's Red Arrow.
What happened to all those clones? What happened to those clones this season?
I don't know, Dylan.
Where are they? Are they saving us?
Dylan, my point is, remember that Red Arrow was a sleeper agent and he mind controlled the entire
league. I don't remember that.
Come
on. I gotta rewatch. I don't remember that.
The point is that the season finale of season 1 is everybody fighting the Justice League, and that seems like kind of a rehash here, so I hope we don't just do that. I hope there's a little more here.
Yeah, well, this isn't the finale, so we're gonna do some more interesting things.
Yeah. There are 3, it's a 3-part finale?
Yeah, that's
well, DC Universe is airing 3 episodes once. Was it intended to be a 3-part finale? Who knows?
It feels like this is a finale. Like this feels like there's nothing left except a finale.
Well, the last episode will be the finale. I just mean, like, is it really a 3-part finale? Like, Nevermore is the last episode. That's a finale. But
no, I just mean, like, it feels like this episode 23, felt like...
It sets up for the finale. Yes. Yeah, I agree. I think the benefit of being on a absolutely obscure platform... By the way, I just want to tell you that a few months ago, I received DC Universe saying that... sorry, we accidentally took tax from you when we shouldn't have taken taxes from your DC Universe account. We'll be refunding you shortly. And my response is, you thieves! You stole my quarter. And so today I got an email from PayPal. DC Universe has refunded you 48 cents from your purchase in January. Thank you, DC Universe, for returning my stolen money. I don't forgive you, but that's okay. So
Don't you mean, Dylan, that you forgive but you don't forget?
I mean, I don't really forget, but I'll say I forgive, I don't forget. We'll see if I pay for HBO Max, considering this slight against my 48-cent slight against me. We'll see. I may be too vindictive, but we'll see if I'm pirating all these HBO shows. Like they don't know what they've wrought here, but the benefit of being on a stupid, obscure DC Universe platform is that they can actually air the shows in like the way that the creators intended it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, probably this is what they wanted.
Yeah, because they aired every other episode of the season like one at a time, except for the premiere. I think there were 2 at a time.
And that was different from the way they aired the first. But even then, the chunks kind of seemed right.
Like
the 3-episode chunks, yeah.
Like, it at least feels like the finale, they'd have some say like, hey, these 3 episodes should be together, and it feels like that's true. Just based on how this episode ended. But, I guess we've left it off long enough. I think we should talk about Walle. Cause, I don't think we need to talk about the setup with Vandal. We already talked about it already, kind of. Because we have this weird scene where Dick is fighting with essentially all the original team. Like, it's the original team from season 1 minus Walle, and they're all fighting together, and it's really, like...
By the way, Artemis came at it. I didn't know. When did she get there?
It's Tigress! Dylan!
I don't know. I understand who she is. I just didn't understand when she entered the episode, or most of them, really.
Okay, Dylan. I'll explain.
Okay, track the movements. Basically, there's too many characters. What is Chakra? I'm complaining about there being too many characters.
But you didn't... Okay, I guess you guys... I followed this a lot clearer than you guys did.
I followed it, but I don't understand.
Okay. So, this whole... So we have the original team, and they're all, adults. And they're all fighting the parent.
What I'm saying is, when they're adults, the current versions, I just didn't track how they entered the fight that well. Regardless of the flashback stuff, is what I'm saying.
What do you mean you don't understand how they entered the fight? They were all there.
Yeah, when did they get there?
They all got there in the boom tube.
Okay, I didn't see them. They're in the background?
They all came with them through the boom tube, okay. Dylan. They just weren't
I guess Artemis had not talked to that point or something.
Yeah, she was there.
How did they enter his fever dream? I don't know.
Okay, let me give you my reaction.
Okay. We haven't talked about Walle yet, and we're still just talking about this fever dream.
No. So, this is the fever dream. So I was kind of zoning out watching. Some of them zone out during the fight. So Dick was fighting. It's like, okay, I don't care that much about Dick right now. And then they're just they turn into the previous versions. And I'm like, whoa. What's going on here? And I was like, wait, really? What's happening? 5 minutes back. It's not that long. What is happening? And then eventually it's like, oh, this was in Dick's head or something, and it's like, we all experienced this delusion together because of the psychic link in his...
what the fuck? It doesn't make sense.
But yeah, I didn't understand until they said at the end that it was a fever dream of Dick's. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
I assumed I think
you're supposed to not understand.
No, I thought he was just dreaming, and this fight was happening in a dream, and they were all losing in real life. But then, Walle was actually helping them through his fever dream. What the fuck?
Because time actually.
So, by the way, at first I thought this was our Kid Flash, current Kid Flash.
So did I.
Whoa, it's Walle. They sound the exact same, but it's and then it's like Walle. It's what, but yeah.
No, it is Walle. It is Walle. It's Dick imagining Walle.
No, but at first I was like, this is the Kid Flash. It's like, I'm okay.
Oh, you thought he'd come back to life.
No, not that. No, I thought it was, anyway.
You thought it was, never mind. There's too many people that have the same name. I get what you're saying now. I get what you're saying now, Dylan. It's confusing. But the one thing I'm confused by is that there's this moment when Dick first spots, the fake Walle, and time freezes somehow still.
That's what I'm like, what the fuck?
How does that work?
I don't get it. Did he actually help them fight?
Yeah, it's all a fever dream.
Yeah, who was, because they were themselves fighting and they saw themselves as younger, but who was Walle? That's Allie's point, I feel like.
No, I don't get it. Is he a ghost? Is he did they enter another dimension that he's in?
I think the post...
They're just on drugs, okay?
But I think that the credit scene kind of implies that it might be actually Walle.
Yeah, so they entered a different dimension through a fever dream.
Did you see what the credits were, Dylan?
What was the credits?
It was a person. You saw ghostly feet watching over the dog that we've seen.
I just saw the.
No, it was his memorial.
Oh, was it his memorial? I thought it was a ghost.
Yeah, no, it was the.
Oh, I guess I just watched it. I was being too hopeful. I'm like, oh, it's Ghost Walle watching the dog, and I'm like, oh no, it's just a statue.
It's just okay. Yeah. The other part of this is the video game style at some point.
Okay, I like when animation does this, but this was so random.
It didn't make any fucking sense, and it pisses me off. If they were to bring Walle back anyway, I thought it would be, yeah, he is trapped in the ghost dimension, but you can enter it, and that's how they were fighting, but it wound up being a fever dream, and it made no sense.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said in the beginning of the podcast, like, is this the payoff to the Walle hinting we've been getting? Or is this, or like, this is it, or is Walle coming back these next 3 episodes?
No,
that's the big...
Back.
I don't know. Like, what's the point of doing this?
Through Dick being sick. There's no way. Unless they can somehow enter the ghost dimension.
Like, this is our big Walle payoff. Like, it was really impactful. I think this is, like, the biggest emotional reaction I had to this episode. Like, seeing, so, but, definitely. Like, it's not relevant to what's going on. Like, isn't Walle just gonna come in, like, through the ghost dimension and save the day? Like, when that's what's, he's the only one that's not mind controlled in the entire world.
That would be a perfect ending.
Yeah, he comes back.
It would not be, but.
Like, but I was agreeing with you, Dylan. I was thinking the same thing, that he's not gonna get mind controlled because he's in a weird Speed Force dimension thing.
He's in the Speed Force, right? Or whatever, yeah, like,
How does he eat?
Speed Force, doesn't matter.
Time works differently, I think.
Well, no, everything works differently in the Speed Force, Dylan. And whenever you ask a question about how something works, just say Speed Force. That's how the Speed Force works.
I feel like, has the show talked about Speed Force? I feel like I know the Speed Force from, there's a Comedy Bang Bang character that, like, entered the Speed Force. And that, like, is, anyway, it's really random that I've heard of the Speed Force. Has this show talked about the Speed Force? Like, will this be
I think they've mentioned it offhand, but, like, they haven't gone into it deep. But the point is, Dylan, that the Speed Force is just bullshit, and it just is, like, all-powerful. And all you need to know is that, like...
Is that how he died? Did he go into the Speed Force, or we speculate?
Yeah, like, people speculate he went to the Speed Force, because when some Flashes die, they do that.
No, seriously.
So, Sarah, you think Wally's gonna be back?
Yes, I think he's 100% not dead. He's just in the Speed Force and gonna come back at some point.
Yeah,
whether he's gonna come back.
So he's not dead, but they could save it for season 4 or something.
Yes, that's what
I don't
I'm
think
saying.
he'll come back this season.
Yes,
but
I'm not sure he's
coming
come back this season, but he's 100% in the Speed Force and not dead.
I just feel like we spent a lot of time building up the emotional, like, this moment was very emotional because they have actually put in their dues. It's not, a lot of things they, like, have, here's a thing from season 2. We didn't address it at all this season. Here it's coming back. Yeah. We've done a lot of subtle background things with Walle to, like, prime the audience for something happening with him. And if this was the moment, I don't think it was worth it because this doesn't have an impact on anything. It was very emotionally impactful, but I think the proper thing would be to him. It would still feel really random because they've primed us emotionally, but they haven't primed the narrative for him to come back. Like, we haven't laid groundwork unless, like, he relates to the X-Pit, like, they're like different dimensions, or, you know, it needs to, it's going to feel narratively random, but I think it's worth it emotionally to bring him back in here.
Yeah. I think the big thing we can do here is we can somehow tie in the Speed Force stupidly to one of, like, the ways they're transporting. Like, maybe we say, like, oh, the boom tubes are, like, sort of linked to the Speed Force or something. Like, that doesn't make any sense, but nothing makes sense because it's a comic book show. Like, the point is that, like, they can use a thing and they can just accidentally find Walle, and I would be fine with that because they've set us up for it. Just, like, I'm kind of done with these, like, half, like, payoffs that they keep doing with Walle. Because we had one in the episode where Garfield became kind of a main character with, like, the episode he's almost mind controlled, and we see Walle in his, like, his fever dream in the virtual reality.
Yeah, that's another big thing we had.
Yeah, and that was really, I think that was really good. Like, it was really good, but it was really good when I knew that was the mid-season finale, not when I thought that this was, like, near the end of the season. And I just want there to be more here as well. Even though I do think this is emotionally impactful. I agree with you.
It doesn't feel narratively impactful, no. And I think we should do it. I think we should bring Walle back on Tuesday.
Yeah, I hope we do, because I personally was like, wow, I really care about these characters when they turn back into, like, their younger selves in, like, the eyes of Dick. Like, I was like, wow, I still really care about every single one of these people.
It's like, wow, here's main characters that I actually had huge emotional ties to, unlike this season, which is spread it out among 100 people. Like, wow, I like these people, and I care about them way more than anyone in this season.
Yeah. And every single one of them has, like, jokes between them, and I'm like, wow, it's like they almost have, like they have, like, relationships between each other.
At one point, our current Dick was like, I'm whelmed, feeling the Aster, you know, like he had his, he brought all those back too, like.
And he said, like, keep it rot or whatever instead of distraught. Like, it's like
that's in my mind, that's Young Justice. Right?
It is
that's the most iconic, like, character thing we've done with Young Justice is those words, and that, and, like, Walle and Artemis's relationship. And it's like the people that aren't in on the season, it's because we've lost all those things, and it's really a different show now. And maybe season 4 we can go back to that a little bit, starting by bringing Walle back. That'll remind us of those times, and maybe we end with, like, a Walle and Artemis kiss and the season, and it would be nice.
Yeah, in this episode, like, there was kind of part of that because Dick talks to Superboy about it, like he's talking to Superboy and saying like, hey, you're really grown up, and Superboy's like, you haven't really changed at all. Like, and like there's this like, and that was kind of what happened at the beginning of season 2. Remember, we had this episode where people were talking to Dick like, hey, people need you. Like there was that episode where he became a security guard, if you remember, Dylan. I know that's hard for you.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. It was in season 3. And like, there was this big emotional...
Oh, it was this season? I should remember, but I don't.
Yeah, it was this season. But there's this whole episode where he works with a bunch of other heroes that don't have powers, and they all like kind of corner Dick and are like, hey Dick, you're being a dick for like the whole episode. And now it's kind of like sinking in for Dick. I think that he has to step up in a way and be like the leader that he has been refusing to be, like Superboy was showing. And I hope that this is all a lead up to the show kind of doing a soft reboot and saying like, hey, these characters all work together. Dick is a fun leader to watch. Like, let's just go back to that. Like, let's go back to this, like, fun, like, team relationship we had. Because we've kind of set up for that at this point.
Well, who would it be? Who would it be with?
Just, let's have the original team. I don't care about anyone else.
We can't have spent this season with Violet and Brio
Dylan,
and
we spent all last season with Blue Beetle and that in Impulse, and they're not even in the show anymore.
I genuinely don't know who Impulse is.
Impulse is the new Kid Flash.
That's the I'm okay guy?
Yes.
That guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What the hell is his name?
His name is something. I don't know.
I thought he was Kid Flash.
No, he is Kid Flash, but
we can't discard all the characters this season. Like,
but we do it every season, Dylan. And if we're gonna discard every character, like let's at least go back to characters we care about.
We're going to a more small team. I feel like it's the characters we built up from this season. It's like the Outsiders Part 2, where we really focus in on a specific few outsiders. I feel like that would be it.
That would be great, but we're not gonna get less characters. We're gonna go up. We have to now.
You think there's 0% chance they've learned their lesson? I think probably that's true.
There's 0%.
A random question that I just thought of is Jason Todd ever coming back? Because he was in this season, right?
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Oh, that is.
Do you know, Dylan? Okay, Jason Todd is.
By the way, this is why I wasn't on the first half of the podcast. I don't know what's going on.
Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to explain to you, Dylan, because it doesn't matter.
It actually doesn't matter.
Listeners, if you're frustrated, the only reason I'm here is because everyone else quit the show. So.
Dylan's
and I'm the
not
only one
lying.
that likes it, okay? Like, this is what has to happen.
Oh, man. It's funny because it's true, though. Do we want to talk about anything else with, like, the team, like, this original team meeting up or anything? Is there anything else you want to say, Allie?
Well, I like it. No, this isn't that scene, but your note on Jeff.
Oh, sure. Let's talk about Jeff.
He doesn't want a hot dog.
Yeah, it's a good note, because it's true. That's the entire scene. Static.
But, I mean, all of his, like, flashbacks make me feel like he's gonna want to kill somebody. Like, he hates Batman, he resents Dick.
Like, it would be interesting if they bookend it like that.
So this is this Jefferson thing. This is a really bold choice by this episode to have like this crazy mind control culmination juxtaposed with a silent Earth plot here with Jefferson. Like at some point the kids laugh and he laughs. Like he does not talk. It's a bold move for this show, which just people just run their mouths constantly saying nonsense. And for once that they did not include dialogue in what's going on. And I feel like it's mostly I don't know if I'm expecting this to be a big plot thing. Like I don't know if we're like leaning. I did have the thought like, is Jefferson going to be our big bad of next season? Is that what we're building up? But I feel like it's mostly just a tonal juxtaposition to what's good. Like here's the consequences are still real of what's going on.
But I think this shows that they know how to do storytelling without, like, having everyone do exposition over and over again, and it makes me kind of frustrated, because, like, you get what's going on in these scenes.
They can do it, they just don't.
They just don't for some reason. Like, you don't need everyone yapping all the time, because, like, we get what Jefferson's feeling, like, but I was joking about, like, the scene where he doesn't want a hot dog, but we get the emotion he's having. Like, he doesn't feel hungry, he feels empty right now, he doesn't know where to go in life right now, because he feels lied to. And when we pay that off in a ambiguous way that still hits emotionally when he hugs his children. And I think that works great, because we don't know where we're going with him right now, but we still understand that he's come to a decision emotionally with himself. And I think that's great for this whole side plot.
It was really good. I think probably he'll be part of the resistance the last 3 episodes. He's one of the people that's not mind controlled, so there's not many of them. And he's like reluctantly has to get back into action here.
Wouldn't it be great if, like, the first episode, like, the very first scene of this season, Dylan, I'm gonna test your memory again. The very first scene of this season was Jeff killing somebody. Killing a child.
The first scene was the one that little girl was she sent to the alien planet and she turned into the monster. Wasn't that first scene?
No. We do a flashback to that. Yes, it was. She got turned into an alien, but then Jefferson kills her.
Oh, and then Jefferson kills her. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was like a pretty. I mean, that
was why he wanted to stop being a hero.
Yes, and that was the start of his whole thing. So I guess like.
Writers are really big on the first thing culminating into the last thing. So he's going to be important in the finale.
Yeah, because every other plot line like that's important here is in some way important in the first 3 episodes of this season. It seems like, and so I wouldn't be surprised if he has to make a decision to kill somebody or not in the finale. Like that would fit with his arc, at least, with what's going on here.
I feel like our top 3 people that are going to be top 4 people that are going to be key to saving the day. Let me give you the
all right, I'm ready, Dylan.
The key players. Who's going to be the one to save the universe from the granny clones? Is it
Walle?
Beast Boy? Is it Walle? Is it Jefferson? Is it Vandal Savage? I feel like those are your 4 power
Dylan,
players.
You missed 2. You missed 2 of them.
Who?
You missed Vic and you missed Violet.
Oh yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, I guess Violet also could. Vic is. I think you're higher on Vic's importance to the finale than I am. I'm not. He was pretty absent here. I'm not sure if he's gonna. Like, I agree. He is the mirror image to Violet. Thematically, they do have to do something with that. Violet's also someone like.
I just feel like they're gonna like hold hands and they're a mother box and father box and they're gonna like fix it.
Something like that will probably happen.
Is that a very heteronormative ending?
Yes. I mean, would you be surprised at all? Fuck.
Did I ruin the entire show for you guys because I just birthed this idea into the world?
Can we? And humanity was saved by a mother and a father loving each other.
Dylan, that's what the whole show does. Like that's.
Stop it! I don't want it.
That's what's gonna happen, though.
It is. It's 100% gonna happen. So that's your so you think Vandal Savage could still be involved here in the end, Dylan? You think he could?
I feel like those are the people I listed. I guess you could include Vic and Violet. Those are good additions. I feel like those are your people who are not I mean, Violet is mind control, but who like thematically are good, seem like they're gonna pay off in a big way.
What about
here.
Cassidy?
Who?
Supergirl?
You mean Wonder Girl?
Wonder Girl.
Yeah, she doesn't exist. She's not real.
She exists, but she's not important.
Yeah, there's someone on this team who has not had a voiced line in like 4 episodes.
I understand she's Cassie. What? Yeah, like I understand she's part of the team, but she's not. No.
Yeah.
Not that I like it, but yeah.
Like her boyfriend is in one of these episodes, and she's mentioned to him, but like she's not.
The new Robin. Who is he?
I forget.
Oh, I forgot their day. Okay.
Yeah, I forget which. I'm sorry.
God, when I said
Tim,
Batman was the 75th most, I was not joking.
No, you really weren't. Like, I would love to for someone to make a list of the most important characters and see like how close Batman actually is on that list.
Batman might be above the new Robin. I feel like he's not.
No, I don't think so, because he at least is dating one of the characters we've seen in previous episodes. You're not disagreeing.
God, I like this is just so weird with
Dylan.
I'm gonna be really upset come Wednesday, like that we're not gonna be able to see more, because it's just Dylan, like what am I gonna watch to get my fix of a million characters?
Dylan, anime. I just realized Dylan, what we forgot to do this week, which was amazing last week, is forgot to go through these episodes beat by beat and explain all the things that happened and made you so happy.
I think I did. Wait, what do you mean that made me happy? That there's just the random crap that was happening.
We listed every single event that happened, and you're like, this is too much, but you said I love it so much. Because so much happens these episodes again.
I mean, look, let me tell you about the climax of Terminus, because...
Okay, please, I need it from you.
So the psychic alien is leading the charge into... they're in space on some kind of structure that is run by clones of someone that presents as human but really is a different type of alien. And she has captive third type of alien, which is more of a machine created by another alien that's inside a human body that was taken over. And anyway, that's past stuff. And she has like this thing on her eyes placed over her by a weird mechanical small thing in a box called and then the one of the clones is like commanding her for this, like to mind control. And then so the alien with the psychic powers comes in and tries to fry everyone's brains. And the alien clone is like, is affected, but manages to break free in time enough to shove the other alien inside a human form outside. And, she activates the mind control powers, which makes everything purple, and all of them follow the instructions of, the one alien clone. So that's what happened. And I loved it. I really loved it.
Oh my god. It is entertaining.
It is, because it shouldn't, like, Dylan, you described that, and this feels like the type of show you should hate. Like,
exactly, that's why I'm so confused. Normally you would be like, this is terrible writing, fuck this. Like,
I think what's interesting about this show, it's well written and well made, but like it's about
poorly executed.
And I think it's executed well. It's just like what it's about is stupid. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
not that like the mythology of DC is bad or anything. It's just like they're biting off. Not only they're biting off more than they can chew, they're biting off like 100 times more than they can chew, right? Like that's the problem. Like on top of that, though, there's a good show, but it's just like, like why?
Why do we? Like, there's this point in the episode where there's like 4 like side villains going past like the outsiders, and they like name all of them as they're like hiding from them, and I'm like, why are you naming them? I don't care. They're gonna get beat in 2 seconds, and there's gonna be new villains to care about.
I had no idea who Granny. Like the people that Granny mind controlled to send after the people that are breaking in Thor. I had no idea who any of them were.
No, like one of them was in the episode where we met Forager, but I like.
Oh yeah,
yeah, but the 2 ladies.
That was so stupid. I did remember him because like Forager stuff is iconic. Obviously.
Yes, it is. Forager is great.
Why? Okay.
Why was he there?
That was there's so many unforced errors with this. You didn't need to pay that off.
Yeah, like, we didn't need to go back to that. But also, Dylan, and Allie, we forgot to mention that all the metateens are apparently on this ship too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where are they?
Who knows? They're somewhere. And then we also get the side thing that the anti-life equation just like kills anyone that isn't human.
That's important. Yeah. So that's why Dick was sick, is because he's a fake superhero.
Like he has no powers. He has no metagene. Like that's why he was sick. But
and that's
so then does that mean it would kill Forager?
Or whatever.
Okay. Don't try to make
Forager's metagene? I don't know.
No, he's not human.
Allie. It just applies to humans. Every other alien's a superhero because they have special powers already.
Is that true?
I don't know. I'm just saying shit.
I that's a good question. But
Dylan, the point is like Martian Manhunter is just a Martian and he's not dying.
I guess the reason why we're not going to start next episode with the entire universe under Granny's mind control is because that would mean all the humans on Earth are dead that are in metagenes. Like, so we probably can't do that.
I mean, maybe. Like, I would be happy if we did that, because then at least
But then Walle comes back and he's Jesus and he resurrects everyone who died.
Flashes can run back in time, Dylan. Like, that's actually a thing.
I think we're onto something here.
No, it's like how Superman would, he has spun the world back in time.
Okay, but that was, like, really stupid. It made no sense. At least, like, Flash, they're like, okay, he has Speed Force, he can run, like, faster than the speed of light.
Yeah.
Like, Superman just flies around the Earth backwards and, like, turns the Earth the other direction. It's like, that's not how time travel works, guys.
I think that's how that works. I think Walle's going to resurrect humanity. I think he's going to come back, and then next season, we'll start a new religion with Walle as their god.
Dude, I would be down for it.
That's my prediction.
Yes, like I am completely down for it. This Walle discussion has like wiped any other possible discussion in this episode from my mind. Like, is there anything else to cover here? Because I'm not sure. Like
episode. Let's see. We haven't
talked
McGann and I don't know. McGann like are with Superboy, and it's like I wanna fry everyone's brain. You probably shouldn't. I think I have to. Okay.
yeah. What was this plan? Hey McGann, just kill everybody.
McGann is completely right. This was absolutely necessary.
That's why
this was like really satisfying. A lot of times it's like there's like a universe threatening thing, and the heroes like have no, like, I feel like it's like, why aren't you doing something? Like, this is like, I understand the gravity, I'm gonna go all out to prevent this. Like, that felt satisfying.
Yeah,
it did.
I'm on board with her.
Yeah, she, like, did that, but then she still sucked at it.
Just kill everyone. Like,
yeah, I like Calder being the one to do it, because Calder's, like, the most level-headed, and he's just like, hey, do it. kill everyone.
it's a
Where's
good
Calder's boy?
Sorry, what was that, Dylan?
Where's the fish boo? Where is he?
He's here.
No, he's on Earth.
Oh, you meant the boyfriend.
The gay Allie.
Yes.
Or
Where's
the
the
other
boy?
gay.
Is he on Earth? You could
Yeah.
have told me he was in this episode and I missed him. I would have believed
No,
it.
he
I
probably
should have
went
said
back
it.
to Amanda.
He was in this episode, Dylan.
Okay,
So
I
was
just didn't
Harper,
notice.
the girl that
Okay.
Violet kissed. She was here too.
I would believe that.
I know you would.
Harper Lee, I swear to God, if Harper Lee is in the finale, just
Oh
please.
God.
Dylan, would you be more
She's
mad or
definitely-
less mad if Harper showed up? Because like the thing
I'd
is,
be so much mad. Like, what is she doing here? No, I mean I like her, but like, no, like she's definitely
She
showing
saves
up.
Why did we
the
have an
day
episode
because
and a
she's
half on
unaffected.
her?
Why does the show do anything? Like, yeah,
Okay.
it's her. I think
Fair.
the show served her purpose, but you think we're gonna? Yeah, God, we'll
Okay.
see.
Let's let's dial it back a bit and talk about how great Brion is, Dylan. Because I know he's your prince. He's grown a lot.
Excuse me,
Right.
we're
I don't think
sharing.
he really
him.
did that much.
But he has-
Granny is this whole thing. It's like, oh, the prince he came for his lover, and
And he
how
pretends to be mad.
romantic. It's you're a weird alien clone. What do you care about all that?
Yeah, but Allie, you care about this, right? That Brion is like showing
I
maturity
love
here
him.
finally.
I still want him to fucking say like 5 words to his sister. That would be
Well,
nice.
yeah, that'd
but,
be good.
But he's the best.
The show continues to make him important, and even when he really did nothing this
Yeah.
episode,
Yeah, he's great, but he's
He-
also really an idiot. Like,
He's really
really
great.
stupid.
He'd be really great as a side character, but they keep trying to put him up as like this season's Superboy, and like he is no Superboy. Like, sorry.
I'm a Superboy hater.
he is not. Close.
I think he's much better than Superboy.
You are wrong.
You are wrong.
Superboy is so boring.
Ding dong, you're wrong.
Brion is not boring. Brion is great. Really, you guys like Super? I feel
Yes,
like
Connor's a
I feel
good
like this was a
boy.
common opinion that Superboy is really boring, even in seasons 1 and 2.
I
Especially,
love
I think
I
he's
love
better. in this
Superboy.
season. I actually think Superboy is the one character that's actually kind of better now.
Yeah,
this
and he's
season.
had actual character development. Like, he's
I
the only
just-
one I've seen who's
He
matured.
was just the brooding Zuko without the good stuff in the previous 2 seasons. I think they made him slightly more interesting.
I mean,
and now
also
he's
Dylan-
like season 4 Zuko.
Also, Dylan, I had more context for like his character and like the thing. Like you just had like what was shown on the TV because again, you don't know any DC shit. Like for me, it was like, oh, this is Superboy.
I actually think Brion's a great example of like the brooding, handsome male
Yeah,
main character.
but he's not a
He
main
doesn't
character.
do anything.
Yeah,
The show has made him a main character,
but he's not one.
He has not. He doesn't have the relevance to the plot of a main character. So I'm interested to see what his role in the finale will be. He is just
Yeah.
he is mind controlled though.
With
so
this
that's,
discussion of agency, do we want to talk about the agency?
Oh, let me give you my
Yeah.
rant on agency.
yeah, because I thought
forgot
you
about
wanted to talk about that.
So I really don't like mind control in shows. I've given this. I think I gave this in the Incredibles podcast or something.
Yes.
Like they did similar. But the problem is when you emotionally connect with the character, you are connecting with their agency. Like that's the one thing the show these 2 episodes nail is that agency and free will is like the essential part of humanity, and taking that away is like that's the anti-life. That's going against human life. So like I feel like that these episodes are aware of what they're doing with agency being so essential. A lot of shows are just like, I'll just mind control this character, it'll be fine. But it's not. It's a big deal when you mind control a character because we have an emotional attachment to them. It's very upsetting to have a character you care about's agency taken away. Young Justice has staked its entire climax this season on this taking away of agency. The reason it's not that bad is because we don't actually care that much about the people. So it's kind of, but it's just, I just think this is a bad narrative device in general because, it's just very upsetting to the audience inherently. Now, Young Justice is aware of this and is commenting on this actually with this being the anti-life key. So I think it's kind of smart. At least it's a little bit intellectual what they're doing, but, this is just going to be a difficult hole to crawl out of in the finale if our entire thing's based on mind control because, you know, like if you have a character that's mind controlled, they're not the character. The audience is upset at it, and you're not like including them in the story, even if they're on screen. I want to see what they do with it because the show is, I think, actually very well written and put together, even if it is based on some frustrating foundations. But yeah, in general, I just think like stories way overuse mind control.
Yeah, it really does. And like mind control is super scary to me. Like it's just like one of the scariest ideas. And I think this show, again, like you said, like really captures this idea that, like, if you mind control someone in a piece of media like this, it's essentially killing that character. Because the part of that character you care about as a watcher is gone. Like, there's no one there anymore. Like, Violet's not in this episode, even though, like, her power and her, like, she's physically there, but she's not in this episode, despite that. And I like the idea of the show, like, tackling that. Like, it feels like an interesting thing, and, like, it feels like they're really connecting, to me at least, with this idea of, like, yeah, for life to be real, it needs to have free will, and, like, it feels like I feel like that hits well, but the problem is that everyone's mind controlled now. You've still taken away all the characters' agency while having this discussion of not taking away people's agency, so you're doing the thing that's bad while trying to say that this thing is bad, and, like, we can still, like, rectify that, but we have so much legwork to do in these last 3 episodes to make it pay off well.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Essentially what you said, just the way I viewed it, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's valid. And there's a version of this which is going to be really interesting and satisfying. It would take a lot. We'll see.
And the issue with that is I don't know how someone like Walle would fit into that. Like, I can see how Vandal or, like, Vic and Violet would fit into this, like, and Garfield even would fit into this, like, idea of we're talking about agency in these last 3 episodes. I just don't see how Walle fits into a discussion of agency because his story isn't really tied to that.
Yeah, I agree. We should not do things like Walle if we're going to focus in hard onto the. But, like, the show doesn't have the restraint. It's going to do other things.
It's going to do like 5 things.
It is. We'll see. The best. It could do like 5 things, and they're all thematically tied to this concept of human agency. I can see, like, some excellent episodes if I see how they could do it. The pieces are here.
Yeah.
And then it's like here. It's all like this is a really controversial season of Young Justice. Like, there's been some fantastic stuff. There's been some, like, flawed basis to what we're doing here. Some people are out on it. Some people like me still really like it. But, like, everything's here. What are we going to do these last 3 episodes? How good are we going to culminate everything? Like, this is a season that's going to be extremely dependent on its finale for the overall quality. Like, it's very up in the air right now.
Which is kind of crazy because I don't think I've had a show like this in a long time where the finale is so important to whether I like it or not.
If this finale's bad, people are gonna think it's a bad season. If it's great, this might be considered a good season. Like, it really kind of. I agree. Like, usually the shows we talk about don't rely on their finale like nearly as much. Like,
at least with, like, shows like Adventure Time, like, that's still a show. Like, I enjoyed the show, but, like, the finale doesn't really affect how I view the rest of the show. But this show, it's just like, you need this. Like,
the big thing is it's just so plot heavy and serialized.
It's serialized,
which is great.
You need it.
But that means that your ending matters that much more.
I guess similarly, this is kind of like Steven Universe, where, like, I needed Change Your Mind to land well, and it, like, but I wasn't.
Change Your Mind was great. It was great. I was someone that wasn't super satisfied narratively with a lot of stuff. We, like, wrapped up super quickly in Change Your Mind, but I still think that doesn't take away because Steven Universe has a lot of independent stuff. It doesn't, like, make a ton of stuff so much worse.
I just can't see it. I just don't know what else, like, to compare this to, because I'm just, like, so, like...
We really don't have a show that's as narrative heavy as this.
I mean, Promised Neverland, kinda, but... Yeah.
And Promised Neverland landed its finale. I mean, something like Genlock, maybe, like Infinity Train. Infinity Train.
Yeah, but this is the first time
Space,
this is, like, the first show we covered like this that I think might not land it, and I'm worried. I want it to be good.
It might not.
Yeah, and I'm scared of that. I think
I would say it's more likely to than not. I think some people think the show isn't, like, particularly well written or made. I think, like, I really think the, like, who are the Brandon and Greg? Like, everyone's very talented by this show. I would have confidence to a certain extent. It's just like the level. It's like I have confidence they're talented. It's just the degree of difficulty in what they're doing is, like, unnecessarily so high.
Yeah,
that's the issue. But
I agree. I think they're good writers, but they've, like, chased this rabbit down this hole of, like, we need to put all these characters in, and, like, that's a fun thing, and I get why you want to do that, and I get why you would want to, because you have all these characters in the DC. But, like, why?
You know, it's they got their show, like, it comes back from the dead and they're on an online streaming service. This is the time to do this nonsense.
Yeah, no, it does. It makes sense.
We'll see.
But, again, that also makes sense with this, because, like, they had their show canceled, so, like, we want to do everything, every single thing we would want to do in case
it makes sense to me why we're here, even if it's been hard on people.
But maybe with season 4, it means we can go back to maybe, like, season 1 and 2, where we, like, have a lot more tight, where they're not as worried about, like, whether they can finish their story, and they can feel like, let's do, like, not that I'm saying this season's bad, just, like, it might be more back to, like, maybe tone it down a little bit on all the characters.
That's why I said it might not. There's a chance.
You're right. I see
like this season is they threw everything they wanted to do but never got the chance, and now it's like, okay, let's like tell a more cohesive story.
Yeah, and also we have 2 grannies, so it's fun.
Will we see more than 2 grannies in the? I say yes. We'll see. Well. Oh, I have the thought. Is Darkseid like why? It's weird because the universe is being taken over by someone who's subservient to someone else. That's so weird. Usually it's like the main person. But then I'm like, what if Darkseid is just a granny in a suit? Like, yeah, like we talked about that, right? Like, what if Granny is Darkseid? Like, what if all of them is like a hive mind? I don't know this Darkseid character, but yeah.
She's like a new god. She's like a god character, like all the other weird characters.
It's so weird to see the person who's like killing everyone be like, for this part, like she's like the finale boss. Like I don't know. I could see some weird happening with grannies. We don't know all the granny rules yet.
Yeah, we don't. And like we don't know how we know that she has been shown as subservient to Darkseid in a couple of scenes, but we don't, like, so many people are double crossing each other. It's unclear of like how honestly
Granny's double cross Darkseid, I assume not, but
well, we don't know. Like, maybe she wants to rule the universe without him. Like, we don't know.
That'd be the move, yeah.
Like,
who's she? There's 2 of them. Like,
they all ruled the
Dylan,
universe.
I have no fucking
Are they a
clue.
collective or are they different people?
I think they're different people, because remember we had that episode with Metron where he's like, where someone asked, is she a god? And he was like, yes and no. Like, I think that kind of implies that, that I think that there is a new god version of Granny, and I think she might have made, like, a human, or like a human shell of herself to go on Earth and hide.
That's possible.
Like, and maybe that's how she hid herself, because, like, she has this normal human biology on Earth, but she actually has, like, these, like, she's doing things at the behest of a new god version of herself. I don't know. This show is weird. There's 2 of them. That's what matters. And there's 2 of them, and one of them wears, like, really weird
Does that matter? I don't know.
I don't know, Dylan. I'm just, like, I'm the host. I need to say that things matter sometimes, I guess.
We'll see.
The show matters, I guess.
I think this show matters.
Also, I'm sorry, will Tara betray the team? Who knows?
Yeah. We don't get into that.
But also that ties back to the agency thing too, because she has to decide whether she has to follow Deathstroke's thing or her own thing or the team's thing like that. I think we're going to be talking about agency in the finale. I just don't know if they're going to tie it all together really great. But they could.
They could tie Tara in well to the agency theme too. I think they could.
But I think this season actually might be leading to Tara not being evil, which would be cool.
We'll
see. But okay, I'll just say this. She hasn't had sexual relations with Slade.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm happy.
That's a good thing. That is a good thing.
I'm happy, Dylan.
Oh, do we know that for sure?
Okay, the show hasn't showed it, so that's more than enough for me, Allie. Alright. With that said, do you guys have some final thoughts? Allie, do you have some final thoughts here?
This next week is gonna be too much, and I'm not looking forward to it.
I mean, it's going to be too much in so many ways, because we have to watch 3 episodes, Allie. We only watched 2 this week.
But I didn't rewatch the one before yesterday's, so...
It'll be good. It's all there for us Tuesday.
It's gonna be bad.
We have to do it that night. We have to all watch it and then immediately podcast. God. Like, it has to be, like, all jumbled up in our brain.
Wait, that's next week, right?
Yeah.
It's next week, yeah.
I can't do that. I have class.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, okay?
Yeah, I'm joking, Allie. We don't need to do it that night. I was joking. We're not actually planning a podcast on air. Dylan, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I'm just excited for Tuesday.
Okay. Cool. You can find out all the info on this podcast at overlyanimated.com. Join us on Discord to text chat about animation at overlyanimated.com/Discord. Support us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Juliana, aka Julie Jana. And thanks as always to our patron executive producers, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Beatrice, Hugh, Michael, and Needle. We have a lot of podcasts out this week. She-Ra, 12 Forever, a lot of stuff. If that sounds interesting to you, check those out. I cannot list all the ones we've done recently. But thanks for listening, guys. We made it all the way through. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.